I think SmackDown didn't quite get the match of the week for WWE this week, and I think NXT might have.
Yeah, so this week, NXT back for week number 2, or night number 2 specifically, of the Great American Bash. And yeah, I think this week's show had so much hype going into it. I know for the three of us specifically, we were super excited for it. I think just a lot of wrestling fans were super excited. And I think while all the other matches were kind of maybe last minute put together, it was all in, no pun intended, for the main event. Keith Lee, North American champion. Sorry, Richard's making a face at me.
That reference doesn't work here.
he gets the reference, but taking on NXT champion Adam Cole, baby. And yeah, I mean, they could easily thrown any other matches to fill up the night, but yeah, everyone was going to tune in for that main event, and that was like their bread and butter. That was going to be the main thing they were going to focus on all week long. But
was there any holes this week for NXT for you? I thought everything was great.
I think
everything.
Okay. Yeah. So let's do this. Let's treat this like a pay-per-view review. We'll kind of start with our initial thoughts and then work our way through the card real quick.
Speed through it.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, like, I think initially a lot of these matches, like I said, were kind of last minute thrown together. Not a lot of build. Specifically, like, you know, the Bronson Reed.
Yeah, very half-assed.
Yeah, it was kind of just like last-minute filler matches, some of them. I'm not saying all of them, but even Johnny Gargano and Swerve, that was just a continuation from their initial run-in from last week.
Right.
So, and then even Mercedes Martinez, that was more of just like a re-debut for her. So it's just...
Yeah. That was a good match, though. I thought her and Santana Garrett... Because I was concerned when Santana Garrett came out that they were going to have Mercedes eat her up, and instead they had a pretty good, 5-minute match.
Yeah, quite competitive.
So let's go ahead and just run down the card real quick. So the opening match for the night was Candice LeRae taking on Mia Yim in a street fight. And so Richard, just your thoughts on that opening match for night number 2.
That was probably the one I wasn't looking forward to that much, and it surprised the hell out of me. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, they both, to their credit, hard hitting, using
that
a bunch
spot
of...
they did on the turnbuckle. I think they had a table on the top of the turnbuckle, and they did like a neck breaker onto a pile of chairs.
That was the finisher. Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
But even before that, earlier in the night or earlier in the match, where they were on the outside, and like, okay, listen, I think a street fight like that obviously would maybe come off a little bit better when there's an actual crowd there that they can run through. Instead, they're just running through like the fellow NXT like signees and trainees out there. So when they went to like the catering table in the back, there were some of the NXT people just sitting there, and they're like, "Whoa!" They jumped out of the way, and then it looked like Candice LeRae was throwing off like all the bananas and oranges. I was like, "Man, they're wasting so much food right there."
I know,
and coffee and what all the other stuff that was on the table, snacks,
sugar packets.
But the spot where like Candice LeRae fell through the table, I was like, "Damn." Like, I was worried she was going to hit her head on the wall at that because the way that it was angled. Yeah. But that was a great spot as well. And even the fire extinguisher, and just total coincidence. So this was on Wednesday. On Tuesday night, Impact Wrestling was on. I tuned in late. And right after Impact Wrestling, they have like what's called like Impact 60. It's like a clip show, like best moments in NXT. For whatever reason, Mia Yim's matches were being shown back when she was Jade for Impact Wrestling.
They always do that. So like whenever AJ does something or Samoa Joe does something, then Impact will throw out some video.
So I'm watching, and Jade, or Mia Yim, had like this steel cage match with the lady with like all the makeup and stuff, like the horror.
Rosemary.
Yeah. But it was like this hardcore match in a steel cage, and it was awesome. And like Jade, or Mia Yim, was killing it in there. And I'm like, wow, like she, like I could see why now maybe NXT is going to start putting more into Mia Yim in that women's division, because she has the body of work of doing it elsewhere. So I was like, oh, it's kind of similar to what we saw here. Like she can go at it in like a hardcore or any sort of weapon stipulation type match. So,
remember, I think it was around Survivor Series, and Mia Yim got smashed in the face with a ladder.
Yeah. So she can take a beating.
She can take a beating and she can dish one out too. So
totally. So shocker though, as you said, the neck breaker, and Candice LeRae picked up the victory. So it's gonna be interesting moving forward. Like the women's division in NXT is stacked, and so I'm curious, like who's gonna be the eventual, like maybe who's gonna be up for number one contender. Like Tegan Nox currently is the number one contender, and
that's this week, right? Or this coming week?
This coming week. By the way, that promo, that was so cool. Io Shirai, like underwater.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so great. And then Tegan Nox, with her separate part of the video package, saying like, tired of being called the comeback kid. Like, I'm going to win the title finally and wrap it up. But
can we say that Tegan Nox is like the modern day Lita?
As far
Not
as...
yet.
Not yet.
No.
But I love Tegan Nox. I think she has so much potential.
Yeah.
And I think she has just a natural baby face personality, and with her injuries and stuff, I think there's a lot to root for with her.
She gets injured like Lita.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So I know she's currently up number one contender for Io Shirai for the NXT.
That should be good. That should be pretty good.
So it's but like on the outside, Candice LeRae is moving on up, and so maybe the prophecy of, or the wish that Johnny Gargano and her want to be the champions of their in the household. They could both husband and wife duo. So Candice LeRae, I think, is one step closer. So we shall see. And then next up was a match that was kind of thrown together last minute. Bronson Reed taking on Tony Nese, and this came in response. I guess Tony Nese had a match with Leon Ruff, which... Where was this match at? Was this like a pre...
It was taped. They addressed it on NXT that the match was taped for 205 Live, and
okay.
Bronson Reed jumped in. But I thought it was a fine match. I think the reason they did it that way was Bronson Reed when was the last time he won a match? So I think this is kind of a restart for him.
Yeah, and I think Reed built him up as like I would say monster, but a big man for NXT, because he was in the breakout tournament last year, did really well there, and I think a lot of people were excited for what he can do as a big guy. But he hasn't done much in the last few months other than get beat up by Cross last month, wherever that was. So, I think this is starting to rebuild him as maybe the next big guy for NXT, because unfortunately I thought maybe Killian Dane was going to fill that role, but he's been not used too much. The only thing he took this week was coffee in the face from Robert Stone.
Who is the MVP of NXT right now?
So real quick. So Richard, what'd you think of the whole Shotzi Blackheart Robert Stone segment with the tank rolling over his leg?
I laughed uncontrollably because it was so bad.
It was like something out of like the Muppet Show, the sketch.
Well, even Tommy was told me.
Yes, it was.
Tommy told me watch during the commercial, and so during the commercial, picture in picture, you see Robert Stone still like and they're trying to get the tank off, and they finally get it off him.
I'm dying. Am I dying?
So no, it's great. So I think Robert Stone. I think Tommy is what you were telling me. He's very much like Bobby the Brain Heenan 2.0 vibes.
Yeah, I can see that with that scene.
I mean, he's a former wrestler. He did a lot of stuff in TNA and Impact.
He can take a bump.
He can take a bump, and I think we need good heel / comedic managers again.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm all for that. I think that's a lost art specifically in WWE.
I think people forget Bobby Heenan being a legitimate serious manager because he was so funny. But Bobby Heenan would cut these promos that were not comedic all the time, and they were dead serious, and they were as good as a Paul Heyman promo today.
Exactly.
So
I'm all for that. So if Robert Stone can kind of borrow elements from that and kind of move forward and use that as part of his gimmick, or kind of be the new incarnation of that as a manager, I'm all for. And Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed, I'm really excited to see what he can do next. So I think this is the beginning of hopefully a big push for him as well. And then next up, another match that was kind of last minute thrown together. Johnny Gargano taking on Isaiah Swerve Scott, because they ran into each other last week, got into a little brawl. So wow, if the one thing about Great American Bash this past week I enjoyed was, I think not only we had these big main events to look forward to, but I think it was also a breakout or kind of establishing some new faces for NXT moving forward. As we just mentioned, Bronson Reed, I think he's going to get a push now. But Swerve Scott, I don't know about you guys, he really
Swerve,
dude, like he really, despite losing, he looked great here, and I can see
if it wasn't for the main event, this would have been the best match. I saw this week.
The high flying spots between the both of them, and then like early on, it was a lot of on the ground stuff.
Yeah.
But then Tommy, you and I were really enjoying like the high flying. What was it like? Swerve did like oh my god, he like flipped over him and threw Johnny, I think outside, like towards the end. Yeah. But yeah, no, Swerve. This was, I think, a breakout match for him as far as he can go with the top guys in NXT, and I hope moving forward, you know, if some of the guys in NXT move up to Raw or SmackDown in the near future, I hope Swerve can be one of those guys to kind of fill that role, that emptiness on the roster, and become kind of the new face of NXT. I don't know what you think, Richard, about all that. I
think that's 100% accurate, because he was doing that on MLW. If you go back on YouTube and watch when they start doing weekly episodic shows, he was the champion. So the guy's incredible. So I think it was just a matter of time before he got something like this, and the sky's the limit for him.
Absolutely. And next up, a match that I was looking forward to, didn't necessarily deliver, I think, to the fullest, and I even saw online a lot of people thought maybe this kind of was like one of the weaker matches for the night. So it was the 3-on-3 6-man tag match, Legado del Fantasma, taking on the team of Drake Maverick and Tyler Breeze and Breezango. I guess what I was looking forward to was this was the first match of all three members of Legado del Fantasma as a faction wrestling together, and I kind of anticipate, I was going to say this for later on in the episode, but you know, if Undisputed Era eventually moves to Raw or SmackDown, that Phantasma, that team, can kind of be the new version of Undisputed Era as far as a heel faction running NXT. And so this was, I feel like, my first opportunity to kind of see them. I don't know, Richard, what you think of their actual matchup? They got the win though, but I think
I looked at it differently, because I knew going into it, you knew they were going to win because it was new.
Yes.
And I've seen a whole lot of Joaquin Phoenix in TNA when he was DJZ or Zima Ion or whatever his other names were.
Yeah.
I know he had more than those two. And, you know, Raul Mendoza is someone that you can count with 3 fingers how many matches he's won in WWE. So seeing them in a position where they weren't feeding for somebody else, and you knew they were going to win, I enjoyed it. That's probably the best I've ever seen Joaquin Wilde. I've seen him, because before it seemed like you were going off of him doing moves.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't telling a story. It wasn't him dishing too much out. I thought the match was pretty good myself. I get why people didn't like it. For me, it gets 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I was going to say, my main thing, like the first half of the match was really, it was Drake Maverick. He just wants to get his hands on.
And he looked great.
Yeah, so like he wanted to get revenge on Escobar because he put him through a table within the last couple weeks ago. And so he wants to get revenge. And so the story of the first half was like every time he would come in, Escobar wouldn't come in. And so until finally Drake got the hot tag and was able to run in and get after Escobar when he was finally in the ring. So he was finally able to start just laying into him these punches, and they were ready to go at it. But yeah, Joaquin Wilde, Raul Mendoza, I do like their updated looks. You know, Joaquin Wilde finally grew his hair out. I like his new gear. Both their gears now, they're kind of similar look. And so I like that, you know, the 3 of them have similar gear now. They all look on the same page. And so I want to see more of them as far as like their personalities. Let that show more.
Yeah.
So
this is the first week too that we got to see it. So I think going forward we probably will.
Yeah. So I'm excited for like the next 6 months what this faction can do. But like I said, I want to see more of their personality. I mean, Escobar is great on the microphone, but
he's a star. That dude is. He was a good catch for them.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to see. I would like to see, Joaquin Wilde and Mendoza kind of like similar to Undisputed Era of like Roderick Strong and the other guys, O'Reilly and Fish, kind of just play into Escobar's personality as the leader of the group and how they can work together. So that's what I'm more looking forward to moving forward. But yeah, a great first showing for them as a team, and yeah, hopefully more good things to come. And then next up, we'll run through this real quick. Mercedes Martinez, her re-debut for NXT, match against Santana Garrett. I mean, I don't know, not much to talk about here. She got the win.
Nope. Good 5-minute match. That's about it.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump ahead to the main event. Everyone was super excited for champion versus champion, winner take all. Adam Cole, Bebe, the NXT champion, taking on Keith Lee, North American champion. I mean, what can we say? I know, I fell asleep Wednesday night, so I didn't get to watch it live. I mean, I saw the videos and photos the next day and whatnot. And then Richard, I told you I was rewatching it. You told me I was going to be in for a treat, and it was that. So, Tommy, for you, what was your thoughts of the main event here? Adam Cole taking on Keith Lee. So, everyone knows by now, Keith Lee won the title or won the match. And he's now a double champion. But what were your thoughts of this match?
Yeah, the build up to the match was just like a prize fight to me, and there's some backstory there to the match. When Keith Lee beat Roderick Strong for the North American title, so there's backstory there leading up to the eyes on the prize for him, which is the NXT World Title against Adam Cole, and the match was just Keith Lee just all the power moves that he did were clean.
He's a stud, man.
I mean, what can I say? Keith Lee, he does a good job of protecting his opponents during his matches.
Yeah.
And he's a safe wrestler to work with. And, just everything, when I've been watching the match and I've been kind of detailing some things during the match. And there was a moment during the match where Keith Lee puts Cole, giving him the power bomb, and as he goes for the pinfall, there was that moment where he's where Adam Cole is on the side of the ring. I looked at this, and he puts his index finger right on the ring rope right there to break up the pinfall.
Yeah,
so
that's all you need.
That's wise ring generalship on Adam Cole's part. The veteran that he is.
Yeah, knowing where he was in the ring. To his advantage.
To his advantage, he's a thinking man's wrestler, like a Tully Blanchard or someone like that. And the finish was just perfect. I mean, it was clean. He the way he was hulking up, Keith Lee, to where he was attempting to put another, because he executed the Panama Sunrise on Keith Lee, but he, kicked out, and so Keith Lee's getting the comeback, and he tries to, and then Cole goes for the another Panama Sunrise. He counters, picks him up for the power bomb, and then picks him up. He's dead weight, Adam Cole. So he puts him up in his finishing move, which is the Big Bang Catastrophe, and he just ends it right there. That's the finish. It's a clean finish.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the finish as far as Adam Cole trying to go for the Panama Sunrise. But instead, Keith Lee counters, powerbomb, and then into his finisher, as you said. So very clean, no interference.
No interference.
I think a lot of people were anticipating Cross would maybe going to interfere.
It was wham bam, thank you, ma'am. That was it. Unlike the competition where you don't have 15 near fall finishes,
Here we go.
So there you go.
Competition.
Yes, Richard. So what were your thoughts on the main event, Keith Lee and Adam Cole?
I thought the match was incredible. I thought the finish for me was a dud.
Really? Okay.
Like the 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
and
yeah. Okay.
The 1, 2, 3 just felt like that was it. But then once they start doing the pyro, I'm like, wow, what a cool moment. And then we get Cross, and it's like, oh yes.
So
yes.
Okay, so I mean, a couple things. I wonder how that finish would have looked in front of an actual NXT/WWE Universe crowd. And that's unfortunate.
Well, the other thing with that, though, would have been let's say there's no pandemic, right?
Okay.
It's a week-to-week thing. they would still be at Full Sail, so it wouldn't have been that much different. It would have been louder, probably.
Yeah.
The NXT crowd's loud, but they're also annoying. So we would have got stupid chants in there. And
That's true. That's an understatement.
so that's a plus.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would have mattered as much because the pomp and circumstance afterwards was pretty dead on. It was awesome.
That was incredible. Just, like you said, the pyro, the confetti that fell down.
And plus, it was great that you could read Keith Lee's lips after he won the titles.
Yeah.
He was like, this one's for Texas. This one's for his mentor, who just recently passed away, the guy who
Killer
trained
Tim
him.
Brooks.
Killer Tim Brooks. He said, that one's for you,
It was very cool. And also, I think like they were talking about his grandma as well, just how much he's meant to her. I'm sorry, she meant to him over the years when he was younger. So, I mean, the story writes itself, just Keith Lee. I mean, it's nice that we have a babyface champion again. And a couple things. So, yeah, I enjoyed the match, like as far as the first half. Or the beginning was like Keith Lee was just teasing or taunting Adam Cole as far as, he's a big man hurting a little guy. Then Adam Cole got, his moment to shine and come back and the back and forth. And then, the finish itself. Like, I just love seeing Keith Lee doing these power moves. And yeah, I'm with you though, Richard. Like, it was kind of like, okay, that's the finish. Like, all right. Like, I enjoyed.
Well, I watched it twice and I got the same feeling the second time. It was just kind of like flat for me, but like if you watch it a second time, watch both shows, watch it back to back, both weeks.
Okay.
But if you watch Keith Lee's face when he gets his North American title and then he gets the other belt, like you can see it kind of sinking into him that he's both. At the same time, it's like probably to this day it hasn't sunk in all the way is what I'm assuming because he's looking at it like, whoa, like
yeah.
So it was a cool moment.
Yeah, it was euphoria for him.
Yeah, and I'm super happy for him. But yeah, the finish, I guess maybe there was not like as many false finishes. Maybe that's why like when it finally happened, I wasn't like, oh my God, wow, finally. But yeah, I could see how maybe it felt a little flat. But I mean,
it looked like there was more fight left.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
you
remember when Brock wrestled Samoa Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a really good back and forth, and then it just kind of done.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of like that. The finish was like that for me.
Right.
I wonder
like,
since. Well, I just wonder since it was
I could have gone with another like 5 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, and like because I really felt like they were just getting into like that second or third gear.
Yeah,
as far as storytelling in the ring goes. So yeah,
it's like how New Japan has a really good main event, and the first half an hour of a New Japan main event is kind of slow, and they're feeling each other out, and the last 15 minutes
there's always like a struggle.
Yeah, there's like a crazy struggle at the end, and this just lacked the crazy struggle for me.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm curious, like, well, yeah, if it was done in front of an NXT crowd, would have been different. Or, if the pandemic never happened, could have been saved for an actual takeover in front of a big arena crowd. I mean, that's yet to be seen. So it makes me kind of wonder, during this whole pandemic, how many moments
we're losing.
yeah, they were losing to not in front of an actual crowd. So like this one, Drew McIntyre winning the WWE Championship, Otis,
Mandy and Otis,
yeah, that one too. I mean, like. Then maybe that's something like maybe in the years and we do a list of like top 10 things we wish would have happened in front of an actual crowd. But
that's a good idea.
But yeah, Keith Lee and Adam Cole, yeah, like I kind of wish that was in front of like an actual takeover crowd because you knew they would have popped so hard for Keith Lee finally. Because if you think about the first year of Keith Lee on NXT, he kind of wasn't doing much. It was like stop and go. Him and Dijakovic were kind of going back and forth. Then Dijakovic got hurt, and it was like they wanted to.
He was kind of like jobbing the guys.
Yeah, it was a little bit slow, and then finally after that first year, this last you could say almost 9 months, he's been on a tear ever since. And so I'm so happy in this, I guess, second full year for him in NXT. He's finally accomplishing big things, and so with that being said, I'm super happy for him, and I hope we get a nice lengthy title reign from him as NXT champion. But my only concern, well, okay, before I forget, we'll get into Cross real quick. But yeah, Adam Cole, I do want to say for Adam Cole, like, thank you, Adam Cole, for an amazing
403 days or 8 days.
403
plus
403
yeah,
day champion, NXT champion, and thank you to him for everything he's done. I know he's been mostly a heel for as far as everyone's eyes go, but what he did for the company, and you can, like, I want to thank him. Yeah,
it's not going to get topped.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let me ask you, do you guys think that's the greatest NXT championship reign thus far?
Yeah, it beat Balor.
Yeah.
It beat out Balor's reign.
Yeah. So,
I mean, if you look at it from the coming over and beating the Raw and SmackDown guys, that would have, you could have ended it a month or 2 months ago or 3 months ago, and you still probably would say he's probably the best. Yeah,
and everything he's accomplished as NXT champion, but the body of work he's done in that over the year as a champion, just with Johnny Gargano, their back and forth matches to others,
Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, Ciampa, and just the stuff week to week with Undisputed Era, everything. It's just been so entertaining. And to his credit, shout out to him. He's a friend of the show. We interviewed him back in October when NXT went to USA Network full time. But if you think about it, he's been the face of NXT when they went live on USA Wednesday nights, part of the quote Wednesday Night War. So for him to lead that charge for the NXT brand, that's a tough position to be put in, and he took it and ran with it. Took the ball and ran with it
a full grain of salt.
Yeah, so I'm super proud. I don't know the guy personally, but I'm just super happy for him that you can look at his body of work and how much he's meant to WWE and NXT specifically. So I just give props to him. So yeah, just thank you to him. And real quick before we talk Cross, I just curious, what do you think he should do next? Because there's a rumor that there's an offer on the table for all of Undisputed Era to go up to Raw or SmackDown. They want him up there. If they do go up there, it's supposed to be around SummerSlam time for him that they do the call up there. The one problem is some members of Undisputed Era don't want to necessarily go up there yet. I think it's mostly to do with the pandemic concern. I don't think officially they said who.
Well, it's Kyle. Kyle has diabetes, and he's that's why he hasn't been on TV.
Okay, I was thinking also maybe Roderick Strong because he does have a family, so maybe he's kind of concerned.
No, it's Kyle.
Okay.
My prediction is we'll get Adam, because I guess they did something after the match we didn't see with Adam Cole on TV. Hold on a second. I've got birds outside and they're going crazy. Very unprofessional.
It's okay.
I think we're going to get Cross and Cole before Cole goes away.
Okay.
That's what I want to see.
I think there's going to be a number one contenders match in Cross beats Cole, and then he goes for Keith Lee. And I also don't think Keith Lee's going to have a long title reign.
See, that's okay. Okay, real quick. So yeah, Adam Cole, part of me is well, maybe have Adam Cole go up solo and then have the other guys Undisputed Era stick around. But then do you technically break up Undisputed Era and then everyone goes their separate ways?
I think Adam Cole's not going anywhere because they have to break up Undisputed Era, and then he's got 3 different rivalries for the next year.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing, too, is I think if they want Undisputed Era to go up to Raw or SmackDown, I would rather they do it in front of a crowd. Imagine the pop they would get. So maybe they want to hold off. And I think there's still plenty of stories for them to do on NXT.
Yeah.
They can go off and do other. They've all been champions now. So they can all stay busy taking on guys just to take on guys and not necessarily fight over a title.
Yeah. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. So.
Well, so like you said, I think Cross. So at the end, we saw Cross, him and Scarlett looking down from above,
laughing.
Yeah, I know.
So I know he was looking down at Keith Lee, but I partly think he's also staring down at Adam Cole because he's been technically taunting Adam Cole for the last month or so. So yeah, I think while not necessarily he's going to go after Keith Lee right away, I think he still wants to go after Adam Cole at first, and I think. I want to see Keith Lee and Cross eventually go at it for the NXT Championship. I hope they don't rush into that right away. I can easily see that can be held off until maybe Royal Rumble weekend when that takeover happens. Whatever the next takeover will be in or maybe like SummerSlam, what would be the SummerSlam weekend. It could be Adam Cole and Karrion Kross, and then maybe the like what would be War Games in November, Kross and Adam Cole maybe for a second time, and then the winner of that goes on Keith Lee in January. That's my short-term booking for the next 6 months. But
I don't think it's going to be that long. If you look at the babyface NXT World Champions, aside from Balor, because Balor's an exceptional athlete and performer, the babyface champions haven't had the belts very long at all.
That's true.
Gargano,
Yeah.
look at Sami Zayn had it for a week.
mm-hmm.
So
It's always about the chase for them.
It's always been
it's
like
about
that.
the chase.
The NWA champions, they've always been heels most of the time. And then when a babyface wins it, it's a very short reign. Like, for example, Tommy Rich.
And we know Triple H definitely has very much a love and respect for the NWA era pro wrestling.
What makes this a little more interesting is that Keith Lee now has 2 belts.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he's going to go for 2 belts. I'm just saying he has something to fall back on.
That's
he
true.
could lose one of them.
Yeah. So do you think he defends each one separately? Like it's been a while since we had like a double champion where, I mean, I guess like with Becky Lynch as example, but like, like do you, moving forward, every match, both belts are on the line, or he can decide one or the other's on the line? I mean,
I think they're either going to strip him of the North American belt, or do you remember when yeah, of course you do. They did Sting and Seth Rollins, and they had Cena and Seth Rollins in the same back-to-back title matches.
that same night, yes. Yeah.
So they could do that with Cross and Adam Cole with Keith Lee.
Interesting.
Or someone else in Adam Cole. But, but Cross is definitely the next.
Well, Ultimate Warrior, when he beat Hogan,
he was still the Intercontinental
He was
champ.
stripped.
but he stripped. They took the IC off him.
Yeah.
Right.
And they did the same thing with Pedro Morales 15 years prior.
Yeah, so I'm curious what direction they're going to go with as far as double champs go.
Like, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
They even addressed that on TV whenever they stopped doing it.
Yeah, I liked when Seth, when he was U.S. and
World and WWE champion.
I liked when he had both, was carrying around and defended separately. So, yeah, we shall wait and see with that. But with Cross, I anticipate his time in NXT is going to be short. Like, I think he has big money, main event.
That's the thing with both of them, though. Like, you could easily see both of them going up to the main roster at any point. Like, they don't need to be neither one.
Like, Vince really thinks high of Keith Lee, I've heard.
So, yeah, it's... I wonder if Cross... Can he get a championship? For me, I want to keep them separate, Keith Lee and Cross. Let them both just... destruction, both of them on their separate paths, just beating everyone. And then eventually it comes to a head for this big match between the two. Like, we're hungry for it. Like, we see them doing the things separately, keep them away from each other. But when they do get that match, does Cross get the win, become NXT champion? Or I could see Keith Lee beating him, and that's like his first loss, Cross's first big loss. But then after that, he can easily jump over to Raw or SmackDown. I said,
here's the thing. We got Gargano. Mm-hmm. We don't know when Ciampa or where Ciampa's gonna fall back into this. We got Cross. We got Cole. Mm-hmm. So you could have a 4-way to determine.
And you got Ballard.
Yeah. And you got Balor. So they're stacked right now.
Man. It's a good problem for them to be in, right?
It's a very good problem.
Damian Priest as well. Yeah.
Damian Priest.
Yeah.
Cameron Grimes, man.
Cameron Grimes. I love Cameron Grimes. I love Cameron Grimes.
And they're going to be taking on each other next week. But yeah, Gargano's teasing, or he wants more of Balor, so they're going to go at it for renew that rivalry from back in January. So yeah, it's NXT's in a really good spot right now in the different directions they can go with, and it's yet to be seen where some of these guys might end up on Raw or SmackDown in the near future. I kind of hope some of them stick around a little bit and finish out the storylines. And I think, maybe build it for one more big takeover. And then after that, do they appear at SummerSlam or do something in the fall season?
It's up in the air.
Yeah, but no, overall, NXT, Great American Bash, night number 2, so much fun. Just once again, congrats to Keith Lee pulling off a big win, and just the image of him holding both belts is going to be iconic now moving forward. It's going to be
absolutely. He's the first double champion in NXT, so
yeah. So happy for him, and it's just cool. We got to see him a couple years ago in person at APW.
Yeah, he wrestled Jody Christopherson. This was 3 years ago.
Yeah, so dude, so much fun. So looking ahead, this week's going to be busy as well. I mean, Raw, SmackDown going to be doing their things. They're going to be the go-home shows for Extreme Rules, the horror show. And Slammiversary is also next weekend. I definitely want to watch New Japan's Dominion and the New Japan Cup Finals. So there's a lot of stuff for us to talk about this week. So yeah, I anticipate maybe we'll do some extra bonus episodes maybe this week just because there's so much to get through.
Oh yeah, fun.
Yes.